the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you guys a bit of a review video on a brand new tent from Vango. So this is the Vango Joro Air. So the Joro Air basically is almost a groundbreaking kind of concept really. So what it is, it's a recycled tent. So what Vango have really done is kind of something they did probably about 10 years ago, a little bit before its time, was take almost things like plastic bottles like I've got laid out here, and basically make tent fabric out of it. Basically recycling it, putting things, making good of bad, essentially waste. And now it's come back into the range. I think it's very more on topic, on market, but what they've done is more refined it. But at a price point a lot more competitive. So you're not suddenly paying a massive amount just because the tent's recycled. It's a completely different concept. So this in many ways almost is very similar to the Stargrove that run in the range. So again, they'll do a cold and air version of the Joro. And the joys of it in many ways is that it's only about £50 more for this recycled version, but you get a lot more features embedded into it. So you're getting more for your money, plus doing your bit for environment. So this one in particular, so this is the 6, and they also do, like I said, a 450. The 600 will take 261 bottles approximately, and basically be recycled, whereas the 450 is about 207 bottles. So what they essentially do is they get sort of plastic waste like this, they basically then make into chippings. The chippings then basically get put through this process where it's kind of like melted down and then basically made into thread. Threads get woven into the fabric itself, and the fabric then makes a tent. So pretty much as possible of this tent is recyclable. So we're looking about 60%, which essentially is the fly sheet, the inners, and all the bits, the little skirting. But it's a step in the right direction. Like I said, the fact what's going to happen as well is Vango working on a system where you can actually recycle your old tent and it get put to a better use. But we've got a separate video talking about that, which you can check out on our own YouTube channel. But let's concentrate on this tent for the time being. So the fact that it's recyclable is a big, massive plus point. What you've also got benefit of actually as well is they've made it more durable than the Stargrove. So you've got a slightly better specs fabric, so it's a 70 denier, but it's got colour lock in it. So it's a bit more durable, plus it's got that sort of UV inhibitor in it, as well as it's going to have a longer lifespan and be a more consistent weave. You've also got a few other features like there's extra mesh on the side door on it as well. You've still got a dark bedroom. So there's a lot going on here. And I think as an eco range go, in Vango's kind of Earth collection, I think it's a cracking bit of kit. Not only that, it looks brilliant. I don't know, that blue just pops to me. It looks really, really good, Moroccan blue. So it's inflatable, quick and easy to put up. I pitched it up on my own in about 10 minutes. And you can check out our own Attwoolls pitching and packing videos talking about that and sort of showing you how it's all done in one shot. Nice and simple, means that if you go away for a week or weekend, you can do it on your own. It's manageable. What thing you also got as well, you've got things like actually aluminum Skypoints, make it nice and simple. Each beam's done pretty much the same, and it's got its own installation point, and you get a manual pump supplied with it as well. You can buy spare tubes that can go in pretty much any of the parts as well. So again, you've got that kind of security that if you had an issue, you've got a punch repair kit supplied with it anyway. But you can always carry like a spare tube, like you would a spare tyre or for a bike, for a car. But you've got this ability to fix the problem as or when if you had one. You've got low-level ventilation down here to necessarily try and help with kind of condensation, make it a bit cooler on the inside of it, and get that air flowing around the tent itself. It's kind of a free zone tent, so you've got sleeping, living, and a sort of awning area at the front. So the awning section it's quite versatile, but there's a door that you can kind of sort of open halfway, fully open up if you wanted to, or on a bad day sort of seal it up completely. Where is it? You've got crystal clear PVC windows as well, and it's basically eco PVC, so it's designed that it's basically a few years ago they took sort of a lot of nasty chemicals out of it just to make it a bit more, well, health friendly. And it's a small little details that kind of Vango go to now just to be more of an eco-friendly brand. Things like all the cardboard they use is recycled. You also find that now in their packaging they're not sort of putting things in plastic bags to necessarily, again, it's small things like that just make up to a big difference, and that's kind of what they're about really, is just kind of, well, harming the environment as little as possible, but with a bit more of a, an eco kind of spin on it really. What I'll do is I'll quickly take the camera around to show you around the other side, just to kind of give you a bit more of an idea. And then what we'll do is we'll head inside and talk through a few more features about the tent itself. So I think for me, like I said, it's a cracking looking tent. I think, you know, it pitches really well. The blue is just magnetic. I mean, I think it's probably better that side. Right? Then you've got a mesh door on that side as well, which works really well. And that side door can actually bring the horse out into make a little canopy out the side of it. But it just sits really nicely. You've got a great, nice big ventilation point at the back there as well. And then you've got each beam, you can see it's got its own individual valve point. But I think it's a really nice story. Again, something that kind of, I think, for me, makes a big difference when you're sort of looking at buying things where you know you can spend a little bit extra, that makes a big difference. And it's not so much the initial purchase, but it's the lock-on effect after that. You know, if we're talking to a point where we're pretty much turning a lot of plastic waste into something that's usable and recyclable, then it makes a big thing. But let's have a look on the inside and talk through a few more features about the Joro. So now in the Joro, you can kind of get a bit more idea for the three zones we've got in the tent. So we've obviously got the front awning section, the main living area and the sleeping area right at the back. We'll sort of work from the start of the tent and then work our way through it till we get to the more important part where Archie is now. So the front doors we talked about on the outside is sort of in two bits. You can have it sort of half open or fully open or completely enclosed. You've got a second zip puller on there as well, so actually what you can do is you can actually get a bit of air run through. So if you sort of take this door around halfway, you can almost create like a little veranda kind of style, just giving that a little bit more flexibility in the actual tent itself. Otherwise, you know, a nice day, you can actually just open that up, roll that back, and have it almost like a very much big open canopy. So it's good to have the versatility in everything you've got going there. In this section as well, you've got sort of crystal clear windows on either side to get plenty of light into, but you've also got the privacy curtains as well, so you get security when you want to leave the campsite and leave your kit inside of here, or just generally just to keep everyone unwanting eyes out. You've got, so there, all the windows are located down the bottom here. Like I said, you've got a nice curtain, and you have it in two positions. You have it halfway up or fully up, and it toggles up into place and gives you a nice sort of privacy screen. And again, when you want to roll it away, just roll it away. Little toggle point just down here, just to kind of keep the curtain at bay. Keeps it neat and tidy rather than flapping around and just being a bit of a nuisance, really. So I'll just rush and do that. So now into the main living area, what you firstly see is probably there's no sort of step into the main body, which makes a big difference. It means you've got kind of this lip that goes up and goes down, so you've got the flexibility of having no trip hazard, but also a bit more security when you want to as well. You've got a hanging point in sort of the front area as well, so you've got allowed to get light in the front area. And you've got a full line of front mesh door here, so you've got two windows, and in the door itself has got a full mesh panel in it as well. So that means you've got sort of main protection against sort of bugs and kind of unwanted critters. That way, you know, you haven't got to worry about them coming to join your party late at night when you've got the light on inside. So you can get airflow going throughout the tent and not have to worry about, you know, so there's plenty of things coming in. And the fact you've got almost like a zip line as well is a bit more of a step up in comparison to something like the Stargrove. It just makes life a little bit easier, a bit more thorough when you're talking about that protection in there. And you can just roll the door back. And it's got little toggle points again just to kind of retain it. So the main living area itself is very spacious. You know, you can happily put sort of table and chairs in here with plenty of room as well. Because you've got kind of Vango's pre-arch beams kind of scenario, what you find is that you've got a decent amount of interior headroom height, even in the corners, because you're not having that sort of massive sort of splay in, losing the best part of a metre or so on the side. So I'm about 6'2", I can stand up in the side profile. I'm not right to the end, but then again, you know, it's probably ample, especially if you're shorter than me. One thing as well to bear in mind as well is you've got an additional mesh door on the side here, which you don't have on the Stargrove. So not only have you got sort of full front protection, but you've also got one on the side as well. So yeah, again, it really helps get airflow in. And beneath both the windows, again, you've got this a little opening to help with the circulation there, which I'll bring the camera in sort of towards the end of this, and we can have a look around to give you familiarise yourself a little bit more with it. The darker bedrooms at the back is sort of kind of their sort of midnight bedrooms. So it's nice and easy. Nightfall, sorry, not 4 bedrooms. So it's still quite dark. You've got the benefit of having toggle dividers between sections, so you can have it as a 2, 2 and 2. Alternatively, have it as sort of a 4 and a 2. So it's quite flexible that you can kind of pick and choose how you kind of want to use it. Other benefits that obviously headroom height, I can stand up in the bedroom quite happily. So when I get changed, first thing in the morning, I haven't got to worry about that. And you've got things like storage pockets located down in the side here, so you're not rooting around in the middle of the night to find a torch to go to the loo. It's easily accessible. You put your phone in there, you know exactly where it is. You've got a hanging point for lantern as well, so it means that you can have a sort of a main hanging point here, so either a normal lantern or a flexible point. And then you've got little Velcro tabs located down here, going down to cable entry points located down the bottom. And again on this one, you've got one on the side, one on the front, and you can even use the left-hand side. So it doesn't really make a difference on where your main socket is coming from. You can quite happily accommodate it. Other things to bear in mind is you've got Vango's TBS system, so it's like an internal bracing system if you need it. It comes in all of their tents, just a bit of extra line of defence if it gets sort of windy weather. You can just literally pop that in, nice and loose, and when you get a wind coming from one direction in particular, it kind of just keeps the shape, and you can always create a triangular formation with it just to give you a bit more internal bracing. It's something they kind of use in high-end backpacking tents, and they filter into all of their family tunnel tents. To be honest, about 99% of people never use it, let alone know it's there, but the main point is it's there and it's unique to Vango why they do it. Something that's been tried and tested over the years and works really well. One thing to mention as well, the side door can be sort of lifted up onto 2 canopy poles, which would be an extra, and then you can make a little canopy out, and then you've got like a sort of lip on that bit as well, just to give a bit more sealed away from everything else. But let's pick up the camera now, have a little walk through and talk through a few of the things and get a bit more of a grasp of what's going on. So like I said, for me, colour-wise, it's absolutely brilliant. It's smart, it's roomy. As you see, when you're on the inside of here, you can really get a lovely view, almost nearly 360, thanks to all the windows you've got there as well. And that mesh door, like I said, it's just a lip down to there. So when you want it to use it as just a normal door and have it solid, you can just tuck it in there. But you've got low level ventilation beneath there, you can probably just about see daylight through. So that's going to help with circulation there. The darker bedrooms are quite nice and dark. You've got a mesh panel at the top as well for help ventilation. And you've got hanging points, for the point, and even a little hanging point for a lantern. So you can put something a bit light on there if you wanted to. And then storage pockets located down the side. Even little vents again, of course, on the top. And you've got a cable entry point located down the bottom there. And you've got, like I said, long beams. You can see kind of little Velcro tabs leading to your main lantern point there. But the main, obviously, story about this is the fact that, okay, it's a little bit more money than sort of the Stargrove model, but you're getting more for your money, and it's a more eco-friendly story. So it works a bit nicer. I think for me, from appearance-wise, it looks a hell of a lot smarter. I know Stargrove has really brought itself in for more of an entry price point, but for me, I really, really like the Joro. I think it fits really well, and I think Vango's done a really good job with it. Not only that, but kind of making a contribution to try and start helping the environment. You can see I've lined all the bottles up here. There's 261 of them, just to kind of show you what that kind of goes into that in many ways. But like anything, always do let us know your thoughts about it. There are models in the kind of Earth collection, so you can have a look at sort of like the Athena, which is another model. But for me, I see this being probably the most popular model just because you've got that enclosed front door. And it's one model we will definitely have on display at our indoor showroom, where we've got about 40 tents up on display, so it's definitely worth taking a trip. And we'll have this with the Stargrove as well, so you can compare and contrast between the two models. But for me, I think this just about pips it, and I quite like just the general feel about it, really, to be perfectly honest with you. But we've also got this as a 600 just as well, so there is a 450 in the range, which I have talked about. Sort of 2 beds, slightly a bit smaller, same kind of concept, you've got 3 zones. If you check out our polled version of Joro, we've done the 450 version of that, so that way you can see the 450 size, albeit in the polled, and then this is a 600 size. So we're kind of trying to cross-reference the polled and air in both sizes to give you a bit more of an idea about the differences between the two, so you can always check that out if you feel you want to as well. But really popular model, very quick and easy to put up, and any more questions, do feel free to check the link below to our website or contact us directly. But that's kind of our video review on Vango's new Earth collection, and this is the Joro Air 600.